and parental alienation, please come to us at CCF. David, you're not last but least because I've got a whole bunch of children stuff to talk about before it ends. Sorry, Marty, we might be 5 minutes left. David, okay, the enemy of the state. He's still alive. He's under arrest, and he came. Oh, sorry, and he came. He came. Okay, go for it, Dave. Dave, all yours. I don't mean to control you, do I? You can have the mic.
It's really hard for me to hear these stories. It always is. I came here 10 years ago from the United States. I want to give a 1-minute background before going into this, so Sika can keep me on track so I don't go over. I was an advisor to the chairman of the Knesset Social Welfare Lobby. My whole life I've been working with at-risk kids in various professional positions. I consulted with the director of the Department of Children and Family Services to renovate the child welfare system in the Chicago area. 14 million people. We brought from being one of the lowest in the United States to #1 in the country, and brought the United States child welfare system from towards the bottom of the OECD towards the top. And I'm not saying any of this to brag. Right now, my organization, like CCF, has special consultative status with the UN. And I thought when I would go for divorce that the social workers that were appointed to our case would understand that I'm not just somebody who speaks from the air or ignorance about child welfare. When I filed for divorce because my ex was abusing my children, that these things would matter to the social workers. Instead, it worked against me. In other words, I would have been better off being a plumber or a taxi driver who didn't have the experience that I had. The more, yeah, that was exactly it. That made me more than me. And they told me they were lying in court. They would testify to the judge, lie after lie after lie. They would lie to me in the meetings. I got to a point where I would record the meetings that I would have with these social workers, and their psychiatrists and their psychologists, et cetera, to document the lies that they were telling. I found by 2010 that got me nowhere. I found that this system was thoroughly corrupt, and that's when I decided that it was time to turn to the system that I knew, the court systems in the United States that I've been familiar with most of my life. Again, I said that I've been working in child welfare, so I've been dealing with family courts in the United States, social workers in the United States. I understood how those court systems worked. So 2010, I told the social workers, I'm going to expose you, and I'm going to turn to the American courts. They thought that was a lie. By the way, I think Sion was saying stay strong. Okay, the social workers were telling me for 2 years at that point, everybody understands that the system here works wonderfully. It's wonderful here. You are the only one who thinks there's a problem. And I heard that for 2 years. And I knew that there's a difference between night and day with what I was seeing here in the system here and what I saw in the United States. And one last thing I have to emphasize. I've been around the world, I've seen a lot of parents. Israeli parents aren't the best in the world. I've seen them play with children in the parks. I see how Israeli parents raise their children. They're the best in the world. There's no excuse why Israel performs the worst in child welfare in the OECD. Not one excuse for that. What you see on the streets, we should be #1 in the world, and that bothers me. And so I had to turn to the American court system to sue them. Filed my first lawsuit against them in 2011. At the same time, I took all of those recordings that I told you about. By the way, advice that I have for you, every time you talk to a social worker, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, any official in this country, put a recorder in your pocket and record it.
Right.
All right? The only way that you get documented. I made a YouTube channel called The Unpromised Land, where I broadcast their lies out there in a sarcastic way, used that in evidence in court. We sued Moshe Kahlon, who was the Minister of Welfare at the time, who was the Minister of Justice. No, it was before that. It was before that. Right. Yeah, so we went with Simona Steinmetz on down yes. to My Picket Outside. All right. Now, we were a grassroots effort to do this. Cost us $350,000 to file this lawsuit. That's 1,000 shekels it cost us. It cost me to file the first one. Okay. And again, don't put a target on my head. I'm not the point here is that there's not any one of us is the superstar, and we should not have that mentality. We should have a grassroots mentality. Because they come, I've been arrested a number of times. I was just arrested a couple weeks ago. I had 3 warrants for my arrest, cleared off 2 of them. As I stand here, there's still a warrant out for my arrest. Me too. Thankfully, there's not any police in the room right now to arrest me. Okay. They might be. So at any rate, they cut my head off. We need 5 more heads out there. So this has got to be a grassroots mentality, not a me mentality. At any rate, it cost me $350 to file my first federal lawsuit for what was it, $20 million against Revacha. They had to hire Arnold and Porter, as you may have heard on the news. They retain them at $1,000 an hour. They have to pay a $100,000 retainer to hire them. So for every dollar I spend, they have to spend $100 or more to defend me against me. I also sued their American supporters. So you named some of these defendants: Witzel, Naamat, New Israel Fund. Schusterman's not that's hers. So these supporters of what's happening to you, the financial backers, it's $3 billion a year that they raise in the United States. It's a lot of profit they make off of you. All right? You are very lucrative for them. And taking your children away from, and I'm sorry, Mary Gold is not paranoid here. This started with the Yemenite children in the 1950s. And it hasn't stopped. It's going on and on and on. And so we hit them in the pocketbooks with these. Now, one of the organizations I sued lost 25%, it's $25 million in donations to them. Do you think some heads might have rolled in that organization? Okay. A lot of heads rolled in Revacha. They appointed Yossi Stillman to replace whoever was there before. We put pressure on them with just the first lawsuit that we lost. And we lost it. All right, the first 3 lawsuits I filed, we lost. But that was my learning curve. I've started to win these lawsuits. All right. One example is I sued a Sila Mishpati lawyer.
Fair.
I won.
What was the name?
And I turned to Sila Mishpati and said, "I'm sorry, I'm destitute. I can't collect this debt. Could you appoint a lawyer for me to collect this debt against this Sila Mishpati lawyer?" I did it as a sort of being sarcastic. They did what? They gave me one. So, yeah.
So, can you just tell people about your Atzal as well and what the result is of those nights?
Right. So here's the thing: is I'm doing this piece by piece. Believe you me, I know, just like you know, Pikidat Saad is evil, and they're enemy number 1. I understand that. I get it. We're doing this strategically, a little bit at a time. Right now, a group of us, headed by Dotan Newman here, we have filed a lawsuit against Hotzala Poal for $1 billion in New York. He's spearheading this. He's a brilliant man. There's another person in this room, by the way. Some of you have seen that my English improved dramatically overnight. But thanks to that person, my Hebrew has improved quite a bit. So at any rate, We are trying to turn this into a class action lawsuit representing 80,000 divorced fathers in Hotzala Poal. We'd like to recruit a couple more new American citizens, talk to the two of us before we leave tonight. We're suing them under what's called the Racketeering, Influence, Corruption, Corrupt Organizations Act. That's saying that they're a mafia. So we're saying that the Ministry of Welfare and Ministry of Justice, it's a big mafia, and they run an extortion tactic against us. Now, those who want to join us in that, what's that? That would fall under the Ministry of Justice. I want to say from experience, winning some of these lawsuits and losing some of these lawsuits, I would encourage each person in this room use the U.S. legal system to get justice. They can't stand it. Daphne Hocker has written a couple of articles against me on this already, so we know it gets under their skin. There's two systems in the United States, and I'll be happy to help consult with people. There's local courts and there's federal courts. I'm having a much better success rate in local courts. And I would suggest that if you're going to do a federal lawsuit, that we do them as groups, and you do it in a more organized manner, not just throwing something out there, because you can actually harm the other people. And it's important.
I have to say, you know how we said you have to just ignore the system a little bit. Oh, please, David, tell me how you and Michal and Doron and a couple of others annoyed your judges, will use the word, in the outside of Pond, please, because I should have been a witness last week. Can you just tell us the result of your lawsuits so far?
Actually, this is an excellent point of what I'm talking about here. Each one of us sued our Rishimot. You know what a Rishimot is, I'm sure how many people have been in Hotzala Poal here? Okay, so I don't have to tell you what a Rishimot is. All right. Pseudo-judge, not a real judge. So yes, each of us filed, actually some of us filed requests to have our registrars, the Rishemit, removed from each of our cases because it's a conflict of interest. We're suing them personally in New York for $1 billion. How can they objectively continue to handle our files? Okay? Dotan.
There's one point I wanted to make.
One second. Dotan. What's that? Oh, it's okay because we can do amended complaints, and so if the next one comes in, we can sue them too if they're at all unfair to us. So that's not a problem. Okay, so out of 5 of us, four of the Rishimot recused themselves from the files. He spearheaded that. I think yours just left without.
No, Michael's.
Michael's, okay. Michael didn't, one of us didn't even request, she just left. Names of the
Okay,
I've got to grab the mic from you.
Okay.
What I want to ask everybody here with CCF, he's amazing. We need you, if you want to sue from the States, you can do a little one, you know, that takes 2 minutes online.
Hold on. Little one, no, you could do $1 million lawsuits in a local court. Okay, when we say little.
But we also mean $3,000 just to annoy
you. Yeah, but I mean, in other words, for about the same price to file yeah, you could do $1 billion in a local court, or you could do it in a federal court. I'm trying to encourage you to avoid the federal court. If you're going to do it by yourself, you're not quite sure what you're doing. Do it on the local court.
Just don't forget if we
Okay.
survey.
Right.
Yes.
Listen, Motti has kindly allowed us to run over a little bit on his case, and I'm really grateful. Thank you for that, because he's going to talk more in Hebrew. Listen to this. Right now, this has been filmed for the UN. Okay, the UN. We are a civil society. We can't do everything through the UN because they're not a court, but we can do it through the states, and we can annoy, we can pester, and we can scare. and David knows how to do it. So how many of you would like to consider making a lawsuit in the States? Yeah, a few of you? Okay.
Real quick, anybody who wants to join a solid pull-out case with us, we're wrapping it up tonight. So talk to us afterwards. If you want to do your own individual lawsuit on something else, I'll talk to you about how to do it in a local court instead of a federal court.
I would like to ask you something. Because they are better ones than just specific to United States.
Give him the
I'd
mic.
like to know if there's any
Come and ask the question with the mic, please, you know. Okay. Okay. Wait.
I would like
Stay with me.
I would like basically to file hundreds of lawsuits against city halls here in Israel, under the torts law, under human rights violations, and under the expenses of the court expenses that we have to fight through the city, and all the agrot, whatever we have to pay, the file fees that we need to pay in family courts. Is there any law firm that can help us create those lawsuits, the Stanz lawsuit, that we can actually plug the names and fill up the court system with lawsuits against social workers, against the Revachah in Jerusalem, against the Revachah in the city hall.
We'll talk about that afterwards. Okay.
I'll put you in contact.
Right. Listen, David, thank you. Sorry we're moving on time. Let me just... Oh, you're going that way. Go. Which way do you go? Okay. I wanted... there is something really important that we've got to move on to, thanks for the extra time, and that's the right of the child. The right of the child. We're all forgetting the right of the child. Sorry. Yes, that's in this section. We have an extra half an hour from Motti, just giving us extra time, so we're cool. Okay? All right, 15 minutes extra time. I'm losing the time saying how much extra time I have. Let me just cover something quickly, because I have a child here, and I want you to hear a child. But